Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt-out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today's episode, which is currently being interrupted by a noisy heater. So I'm going to unplug the noisy heater. I haven't unplugged the noisy heater. I've unplugged the computer. I wish I could sort of start again, but I can't, can I? So we shall just proceed. For those of you listening, for those of you watching, hi. And for those of you listening, I'm just messing around because then I just noticed the heater was really, really noisy in the background. So I wanted to make it stop, but instead of unplugging the computer, instead of unplugging the heater, I unplugged the computer. I should probably just go out and come back in again. Would anybody mind if I did that? So this morning is a sort of reflection, really. And I've entitled it, What Can Change as You Explore the Three Principles? Because this weekend I've had such a number of really not significant, just interesting experiences that have allowed me to see myself sort of being different in the world. And that's really it, isn't it? It's really, if we're entering into anything, if we're getting help with anything, we just want to be different in the world, don't we? We might want to feel different. We might want to say different things. We might want to do things differently. Either there might be things that we do want to do that we're not doing, so we're kind of holding ourselves back or something, or there may be things that we're doing that we kind of wish we weren't, that our temper's perhaps getting the better of us, or we're just in a bad mood more than we'd like to be, or whatever it is, and that's what it is. So this podcast, I'm going to be talking about me, but I want you to listen to it kind of from your own viewpoint, through your own direction of where you would like to go, like how you would like to be in the world. So this weekend, we've been to Sheffield. Very exciting. So literally, I don't know how many miles down the road. It might be 40 miles down the road, Sheffield. I live in Leeds. Sheffield's not very far away. But we went there. So my daughter was doing a cheerleading competition on Sunday. And yesterday. And we decided that we'd go in the motorhome on Saturday and have a walk somewhere around that area. There's actually some beautiful countryside around Sheffield and North Derbyshire. And then we would go and sleep somewhere overnight, and then go be there nice and early at the cheerleading competition, because there was going to be a busy car park and a motorhome that's 7 meters long to get in it. So we knew we needed to be there early. So on Saturday, we went for a walk, and I often search the internet, just like walks around this area, and I got these instructions for a walk. And so we set off, and to start with, the instructions were okay. There were some gaps where it's like, oh, there's some way markers missing here that could have been helpful. But anyway, off we went, and we got lost, like so significantly lost. It's quite amusing. In fact, so lost that the walk was supposed to be about 8 and a bit miles, and it was 12 and a half. In the end, we walked 12 and a half miles on Saturday. It's the most Bruce and I have actually ever walked together, which was quite cool, actually. And that was one of the observations, that rather than, we were tired and achy because we hadn't really taken enough food with us or anything. So we walked for 5.5 hours, really on a banana and an apple. Because we do fasting in the morning, so we hadn't eaten anything. So we had a banana and apple. So we were hungry and tired and thirsty and all of that, a bit cold. But okay, like I really noticed myself being less grumpy about it, I suppose. Whereas I'm absolutely sure that in the past I would have been more grumpy about that. So that's one observation, me being less grumpy. Noticing my moaning about the person who created the walk kind of fizzling out quite quickly. What we realised was that that walk had been sort of left on the internet, and what had actually gone wrong for us was that the walk had changed because there'd been building work. Somebody had built a house. There'd also been a caravan site built in one of the places, none of which were on the instructions that we had. So we kind of, there was one point where we went round and round. Actually, the picture of the map of the walk is, I should have shared that on the internet this morning. It was very amusing because there's a bit where we're just going backwards and forwards like this. So that was interesting to notice that, yeah, that walk wasn't very accurate, but I didn't need to blame anybody. That was quite nice. So yeah, that was a lovely day. Luckily, we were dry. That was one thing. Wonderful. We were actually dry. But just noticing Bruce and I got a little bit fractious with each other, but noticing that we were both okay with that. We were both in this place of accepting that we both had a low state of mind because we were hungry. We're hangry. We were definitely hangry, and we were tired, and it was a bit much. So we but we were okay with it. We were reflecting on that and saying to each other, "Oh, we've been a bit grumpy with each other, but it's okay because we know we're both in a low state of mind." So it didn't escalate like it would have done for me in the past, definitely. I'm sure Bruce would probably say the same for him. So that was good. And then the other thing that was really significant was about Sunday, which was the cheerleading competition day, when literally Bruce and I went from one extreme to the other. So on Saturday, we'd hardly been sat down. And on Sunday, we sat down for pretty much, apart from getting up to go to the loo and getting up to go and get food and stuff, we sat for the whole day. So we were in our seats before 8 o'clock in the morning, and I think it was after 6 before we got up and got back in the van and sat down again a bit longer to come home. And I just noticed my lack of fidgetiness. Like I've never been particularly good at sitting and doing nothing, but there were periods of time, because what happens in cheerleading competitions is the people perform. It was mostly young people, university students. Apart from that, there were some older groups, like I don't know what they call them, masters, I think that Sophie called them, doing the cheerleading, but mostly it was young people. So they perform, and then there's quite a big gap because the judges have to watch back and they have to highlight where they've given marks off and put marks on and everything. It's very accurate, like in terms of how they judge, which I quite like, because I quite like the idea of things being done like that. So, but that means that there's a performance for about 2 minutes and then a gap of about 5 to 7 minutes while the judges do all of their business at the back of the room and score the routine. And just noticing how okay I was with that, just sitting down. I did go on my phone a little bit. At one point, there's quite a big gap, and I did a bit of email and did a bit of stuff like that. But mostly just noticing how okay I was with this sitting around, not doing very much, really, which I know for me would not have been possible before. And that's really how it's gone for me over the last 3 and a bit years since I've started exploring this thing called the 3 principles, this understanding of how we work, psycho-spiritual understanding of how I work. Is just noticing me being different to how I was before. And it's really exciting, but in a really quiet way, because suddenly something will happen in the world out there, because things do happen in the world out there. This life thing we're involved in is a contact sport, and stuff happens. People do things we don't like. Awful things happen in our lives. Things don't go the way we might like them to. And I just regularly notice that I'm being different with that. Calmer, of course, but also clearer. My thinking seems clearer, more compassionate, definitely more compassionate towards other people and how they're being, with this underpinning sense that everybody really is doing the best they can in any moment. And I know there are people doing things in the world that just look downright ridiculous and horrible and cruel, and I am not condoning any of that. And I still say no to some behavior. I still say no to things all the time that do not seem right for me. But the place from which I do that is now very, very different. I used to do it all from this place of upset and anger and they're wrong, they're wrong and I'm right. That was a huge part of my way of being in the world. And it's less and less that. It's just, this is not for me. But it's from that place. It's not from up here. This is not for me. How dare you, It is much more from this lower, calmer place where it's just, yeah, you're going to do you and I'm going to do me, but this isn't okay. This isn't for me. I'm not going to be involved in that in whatever way that comes across. And just noticing really this weekend massively the presence. That's become much more of my way of being. That now is it. This is what I have. And, wishing time away while judges take 7 minutes to judge a 2.5 minute routine, it just doesn't really come into my head. I know it would have been, I would have been like, well, how long have they been doing this judging? I would have been clock watching and watching because of my impatience. I think that's something that's still definitely there. Just in case Bruce is watching this, which probably he often watches me upstairs. So yes, just in case, that the impatience is still there, but it's less. It's getting less and less. So yeah, this is and what I want to finish with is just to say that this has gone from being me trying to make myself be different to just every so often noticing that I am. Just through being involved in some coaching and some listening to this understanding. That's it. No more trying to make myself be better and different. I just notice that I am more and more. So if you want to join me on that exploration, you know where I am. Lots of love. Have a beautiful day and take care.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.